This is Harold Fisher reporting from the Republican National Convention in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm sitting with former Republican presidential candidate Dr. Ben Carson. Dr. Carson, thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Pleasure to be with you today.
What is your message for African Americans that are still skeptical about the GOP as you move into this convention?
My message is to listen carefully. Don't just swallow hook, line, and sinker what you've been told for the last 50 years that hasn't gotten us anywhere. Let's talk about real empowerment, which is economic empowerment. And let's talk about how do we get a school system that is actually functional as opposed to putting people into failing schools. Let's talk about reformation in the justice system. We have 5% of the population and 25% of the prisoners. And a lot of people go into prison with no education and little skills, and they come out with no education and little skills. Of course, you're going to have a high recidivism rate. Let's use that time in a constructive way, but more importantly, let's create a system that doesn't send so many people to prison.
And finally, I want to ask you about the recent shootings and the Black Lives Matter movement. Your thoughts about that, considering what has happened not only in Minnesota, but also in Louisiana?
Well, you know, I'm sad to see that so many people have been manipulated into believing that all the police are bad and that we should have a war on them. You know, that would be the same as if I said because there are a couple of bad surgeons who do a really bad job and butcher people, that all surgeons are bad and that we should declare war on them. Of course that's not true. And, you know, we have got to resist that kind of thinking. And what really we need to be concentrating on is establishing relationships. And, you know, getting police officers into communities on a regular basis who the people know. The kids grow up, they know these people from the time they're a little kid. That's what works. But bringing in people who you don't know, who, you know, maybe harbor aberrant thoughts, this is what creates problems.
Dr. Ben Carson, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Enjoy the convention, sir.
All right.
All right, sir.